Back to school time of year is a great time to take stock of health insurance coverage for a family or for a student. We're going to talk first about some options in Wisconsin and then broaden that out a little bit. In Wisconsin, we have the Badger Care Plus program, which is family Medicaid that offers free or reduced cost health coverage for eligible individuals. If you're under age 19, you might be eligible for Badger Care Plus if you're at or below 306% of the federal poverty level. If you're age 19 and over, you might be eligible at a little bit lower federal poverty level, closer to 100% of the federal poverty level. Now, there are some non-financial eligibility criteria to take into account, such as your immigration status, access to a parent's employer-sponsored insurance up to age 19, and your eligibility for Badger Care might be dependent on both your age and household income. It's tiered, so that would be a consideration. But the biggest one, and why we mention it here, especially at back to school time, is not just to remind people that this is a coverage option, but also to remind people of the residency rules. Typically, you have to be in the state of Wisconsin and intend to stay in the state of Wisconsin, but there is an exception for a student who is attending an out-of-state college to still be considered a Wisconsin resident. So that exception is really important. If we have students in the state of Wisconsin that go, say, to Minnesota for college, they still could be considered eligible for Wisconsin's Badger Care Plus program. Now, your state, if you're not in Wisconsin, may have other eligibility rules for its Medicaid program. That would be something to look into if you're sending a student off to college to see if that is an option for them. Let's look at dependent coverage. Until you turn 26, you are able to be covered under a parent's insurance plan. This still holds true even if you're married, if you're not living at home, or if you're not financially dependent on your parents. It applies to job-based and individual plans bought inside or outside of that health reform marketplace. We like to mention dependent coverage in our back-to-school time because a lot of people have the misconception that going to school or getting married might mean you are not eligible to stay on a parent's insurance plan when in fact you are. Once you turn 26, your coverage ends, and your end date could vary depending on the plan. Sometimes it's the birth date of turning 26, sometimes it's the end of the calendar year in which the 26th birthday occurs. So remember, turning 26, should you lose coverage, could qualify you for a special enrollment period in the marketplace. So you could reapply for different coverage after losing your parents' plan and not have a gap. But pay attention to network. And this is another good reminder for some of those students that might be going away to college. They may be technically eligible to stay on a parent's insurance plan, but if they're traveling several states away for that education, they might be out of network should they need to pop into a doctor visit or an appointment closer to their school. You don't want surprise medical bills. You don't want people strayed out of network. So be very aware of what the costs are if you are going to stay on a parent's plan and where that network extends to. Now let's talk about folks that might be starting college or a tech school program. Make sure you inquire about any student health insurance plans that your school might offer. They might be very accessible and available to purchase, and you still would want to shop. Often they're through licensed insurers that have a contract with the student school. Sometimes the prices vary, what's covered might vary. It could look more catastrophic. It might have a high deductible. Make sure you're doing a lot of your homework and seeing if maybe it might be a better option to stay on your parents' plan, or maybe you want to look at a marketplace plan if you are indeed eligible. And speaking of the marketplace, the next open enrollment period does start November 1st of 2019. You may qualify for a marketplace plan during open enrollment. It's another option to consider. If you're over income for things like Medicaid or Badger Care Plus, or if you're not eligible for other insurance options. Now that open enrollment period starts November 1st and runs through December 15th. So it's a very short window. Now, like we said, there is a thing called a special enrollment period. Should you lose coverage, any kind of coverage, Badger Care Plus coverage and employer-sponsored insurance, be dropped from your parents' plan. If you lose coverage for any of those reasons, or your family size changes, say you have a baby or get married, you may be eligible for a special enrollment period outside of that November 1st to the December 15th open window for the marketplace. These are just a couple options we came up with when thinking about back to school and coverage options for students, especially college or tech school students. If you have questions about back to school time and how to consider different options for staying covered, you can send us an email, and you can find us at healthwatchwisconsin.org. If you like this video, go ahead and click the like button and subscribe to stay up to date.